So the festival is directed by Iain Morris and stars Joe Thomas as Nick, who after a breakup with his girlfriend at graduation, in order to get over, he goes to a festival with his best friend Shane, and just an awesome amount of hilarity and just hijinks ensue as they make their way through this festival period, and we have a new comedy from the makers of The Inbetweeners. Now, Joe Thomas, you will know, played Simon from The Inbetweeners, the UK version that is, and he basically plays Simon here in this movie. Although the character is different, this isn't in the same universe as The Inbetweeners, even though his girlfriend in this movie also played his girlfriend in The Inbetweeners. He actually plays a very similar character to Simon Cooper, who he played in The Inbetweeners. He plays a very much kind of, average, everyday kind of guy who gets thrown into these more than life situations that he has to try and adapt and change himself. And most of the time he's quite arrogant about it. He doesn't want to get involved in those sort of things. He doesn't want to, throw himself out into these situations. He would much rather, stay very reserved, which is very like Simon Cooper. And again, he's very good in this movie. Joe Thomas, he's very funny, he's very charismatic. I think he really does deliver what he needs to deliver in this movie. And it's just, again, his character is so inspired by Simon from The Inbetweeners. It's pretty much the same character. And that drives me to a point that I'll get onto later. Also, the co-star in this movie, who goes by the name of Animashaun, I think that's how you pronounce his name, was also fantastic in this movie. I actually thought on the trailers he was really annoying, but he's actually not like that at all. He's actually a very good supporting character, and he's very funny in this movie too. He kind of plays this character who is very much disregarded by Joe Thomas's character, but in the end he's very much loyal to him. But he's very funny in this movie, and actually very likeable, very down-to-earth, and I actually would love to see him in more things. I know he was in Black Mirror, but I think he could do a bit more because he's really good in this movie, and I think he really gave a good performance, especially in contrast to Joe Thomas. He was actually really good, and I really enjoyed his performance overall. I thought he was very funny. Like I said, I think he had some really good moments, especially there's a particular moment where he has to perform in front of a group of people with Joe Thomas's character. It's very, very funny, and he really gives it his all, so I definitely have to give a good congratulations to that guy. Also, I think the writing and the comedy in this movie, it's just so snappy, it's very real, it's very British, very much aimed at the kind of late teen, early 20s kind of audience that The Inbetweeners was also aimed at. And again, very similarly to The Inbetweeners, this comedy, it's very much rich, it's very snappy, very crude, but also very real and very much how people of this age do actually talk and react. One thing I always say about The Inbetweeners, and the reason I think it works so well, is because it's such a dead-on accurate representation of British high school life. If you are not from the UK and you want to know what being in high school is like here, watch The Inbetweeners. It's the most accurate thing you will ever see. And the way that all the characters in that show talk, the way they interact, it's so dead-on. And once again, here with the festival, this movie just aims to capture that again, and it really does. It works so well, especially if you are a festival goer. I'm not personally myself, but I know a lot of people who are. And again, it's very similar to that, and they deal with a lot of the same problems that my friends deal with. It's a very real thing, and again, it captures that magic that The Inbetweeners was able to capture way back when. Also, I think what really helped this movie is the fact they actually filmed it at a festival. This isn't actually a set, this isn't any kind of, technology using to actually make all these crowds. This was actually filmed, I believe, at Leeds Festival 2017. So this was actually a real festival that they filmed this movie at. So that is a massive plus for this movie. It's actually able to capture that feeling, the magic of being at a festival, as you have all these huge crowds and this big booming music. The music is a little bit of an issue, but I'll get onto that in a second. But there is just a really good vibe, and that's because they did film it at a real festival. Now, that music, that's slightly an issue. They clearly wasn't able to pay for a lot of the songs they used, because they used Mr. Brightside by The Killers twice. Granted, great song, but did I really need to hear it twice? Especially when one of them's a remix. It's just, you could tell that they kind of used up a lot of the budget on that one song and they couldn't use anything else. Just a slight nitpick. Now, my biggest complaint with this movie kind of goes back to what I said about Joe Thomas's character and how similar he was to Simon Cooper from The Inbetweeners. Given the fact he was so similar to Simon, I was really beginning to want to see the other characters. I wanted to see the other boys from The Inbetweeners. I wanted to see Will, and I wanted to see Jay, and I wanted to see Neil. I feel like this movie is wasted potential in a way. This movie should have been The Inbetweeners 3. The director of this film, Iain Morris, he directed episodes of The Inbetweeners. He also directed both Inbetweeners movies. This should have been The Inbetweeners 3, and he should have directed this in that way. You should have brought back all the other cast members, bring back Simon Bird and everyone else. Just bring them all back for this movie and do The Inbetweeners 3. But instead of them going on vacation to, Australia or Spain, send them to a festival. It's a great idea, and again, it's very much of the times. It's very much coming of age sort of thing. Because what would the In-Betweeners be doing in their early 20s? They would probably be going to festivals. It actually makes a lot of sense, and I feel like with those characters, putting them all in this situation, because while having Joe Thomas basically playing Simon Cooper is great, it's kind of just 1/4 of the entire group. He really needs the other 3 to play off of each other, and I feel like I was really missing them in this movie, and I feel like it's just wasted potential. This movie should have been the In-Betweeners 3. Overall, though, this movie is very funny. It's very well put together. I think it is a fantastic comedy. If you are looking for, just a really hilarious movie, especially if you are from the UK, I don't think this movie's, worldwide, so I don't know if it's actually been released anywhere else. But if you are obviously from the UK, if you're a festival goer, even if you're not, if you know the culture, or even if you're just looking for a great comedy, this movie will be able to satisfy you no matter what. And if you're a fan of the In-Betweeners, you will love this movie. Even if you will start to miss the other boys, this is still a great film in its own right, and I love the festival. So did you guys see the festival? If you did, make sure you let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation about this movie in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe. And I hope to see you guys again in my next video.